Mrs. Briggs here again with another reading lesson. Today is another video where you are going to be using it for 3 days. So a day 1, a day 2, and a day 3. So it's the same story for 3 different days, but you will have different tasks for each day. So let's look at those learning targets for our 3 days. Here they are. If it is day 1, we are going to look at some new vocabulary words and use them in sentences. So we did this with, I believe it was 2 greedy bears, so we'll be doing that again. Our words for this story are boldly, clutched, elegant, and timidly. So we have 4 vocabulary words today, and then your task for your seesaw assignment will be to write 4 sentences using each of those words. If it is day 2, we are going to be describing characters with character traits again. Our characters in this story, Stone Soup, we're just going to compare, well, not compare, but we're going to write character traits for the villagers and the travelers. And you will be able to compare and contrast the differences between the two. So I made just like a little T chart where I can write character traits for villagers on the left, character traits for travelers on the right side here. If it is day 3, then you've heard this twice already. But if it is day 3, you're writing the beginning, middle, and end for the story Stone Soup. So thinking about what you need to include in the beginning, what do you need to make sure you have in the middle, and at the end. So think about which day it is. Just real quick again, if it's day 1, we're listening for these 4 words, boldly, clutched, elegant, and timidly. We're going to be writing sentences for each of those. If it is day 2, we are going to describe characters using character traits, ways to describe the different characters. And then if it is day 3, you're working on that beginning, middle, and end. Today's story is on Epic. So when you log into Epic, if you want to follow along on your own, or if you want to read it on your own, that's fine. This is my class. I'm going to go to the guest student so I can show you where we can find this book. Oh. Looks like it wasn't letting me log in as a guest. You all have an account on Epic. You know what, I'm sure Maya won't mind. Thanks, Maya, for letting me use yours. Go to your mailbox, up in the right corner. We're going to go down to Unit 9. So find where it says HM Unit 9. I'm circling it here. Again, HM Unit 9. If you click on that, it looks like it's all about planets and the moon and the sun, things in space. But if you scroll down, right here, it says Stone Soup. It is a read to me. So I'm going to click on that. And I am not going to read it to you since it is a read to me. I am going to play it on this video, however, just so if you were planning on following along on the video, you can still follow along. It's not going to be me reading, but you can still listen to the read aloud. There are several different versions of Stone Soup. We are reading the one that is retold by Heather Forrest today, and maybe you've read this story before. So just a quick reminder before we start the story. If it is day 1, we are writing sentences for each of these words, boldly, clutched, elegant, and timidly. If it is day 2, we are writing character traits for the villagers and the travelers. If it is day 3, you are writing the beginning, middle, and end. Right, so I'm going to play the read aloud, and then I will go back to our learning targets after the story.
There was once a comfortable little village nestled in the mountains. The people who lived there had more than enough to keep themselves content. One day, 2 travelers came along. Their coats were tattered, their hats were torn, Their dusty shoes had holes in their soles. Hungry and tired, one traveler said to the other, "Surely someone here can spare a bit of food?" They knocked boldly on a door. It creaked open, and a woman asked, "What do you want?" "Please," said one of the travelers, "we are hungry. Do you care? Will you share? Do you have any food?" The woman squinted her eyes and tartly replied, "No." She quickly slammed the door shut. The travelers walked a little farther down the road and knocked on another door. A young boy answered. His chocolate brown eyes were sweet. "Good day," he said shyly. "What do you want?" "Please," said one of the travelers, "we are hungry. Do you care? Will you share? Do you have any food?" The boy replied, "There's no food here," and closed the door. The travelers wandered wearily through the village, knocking on every door, but everywhere they heard, "I don't care. I won't share. There's no food." They sat to rest beside a well. One traveler sighed and clutched his empty belly. He said, "If there is really no food in this elegant little village, then the people who live here are in greater need than we are. We should make them our magical soup." The two travelers climbed up on the edge of the well and shouted, "We are master cooks. If anyone in this town has a big black pot, we will make the most delicious soup anyone ever tasted." A door slowly opened. A round man emerged, carrying a gigantic black pot. "I love to eat," he said. "Here's a pot. Let me see what two master cooks can do with it." "Watch and see," said one traveler with glee. The travelers filled the pot with cold water and built a fire. Soon the flames licked the sides of the pot, and billows of steam rose into the air. Curious people began to gather. "What is happening?" the townspeople asked. "Oh, we are making an unusual soup," said one of the travelers. "It requires a special magical ingredient. I am certain we will find it in this town." All the eyes in the crowd watched as one of the travelers reached down and picked up an ordinary stone. He tossed it into the pot with a splash. "We're making stone soup," he said. "It will be nutritious, delicious, incredible, and edible. But it would taste better." He paused and sighed. "If we only had a carrot." "Where would we find a carrot in this town?" the other traveler asked. "We knocked on every door, and everywhere we heard, 'I don't care. I won't share. There is no food.' Then perhaps we cannot make the delicious soup after all," they both announced with a sad shrug of their shoulders, and began to turn away. A child timidly raised her hand and said, "Wait, I might have a small carrot." "Excellent!" shouted the travelers. "Bring what you've got. Put it in the pot. We're making stone soup. This magical soup would taste even better if we had a potato," they added. A deep voice in the back of the crowd called out, "I have a potato." "Wonderful!" shouted the travelers. "Bring what you've got. Put it in the pot. We're making stone soup. It would taste better still," they said, "if we had just a few more ingredients." "Perhaps," said one villager, "I could bring a green bean." "Well," said another, "if you're going to bring a green bean, I will bring a kernel of corn." "I shall not be outdone," cried another. "I will bring an egg noodle." One by one, voices announced, "I will bring a slice of celery. I will bring a pinch of pepper. I can bring a sprig of parsley. I might have a tiny turnip." "Well, why are you waiting?" cried the travelers. "Bring what you've got. Put it in the pot. We're making stone soup." Everyone in the town ran home to bring one small thing to put in the pot. Food flew through the air and landed with splashes in the growing soup. Soon the huge pot was full and simmering. A wonderful smell drifted through the air. The smell was so tempting. People brought out bowls, spoons, chairs, and tables. They placed hearty loaves of bread, chunks of cheese, and bowls of fruit on the tablecloths. Everyone came to taste the soup and marveled at the flavor. "It's amazing," said one woman. "These two travelers made such a delicious soup out of a stone." "Out of a stone," said the travelers with a grin, "and a magical ingredient, sharing." As the travelers left the town, they said, "If anyone ever wants to make this soup again, just remember the recipe. Bring what you've got. Put it in the pot. Every bit counts, from the largest to the least. Together we can celebrate a stone soup feast."
All right. So if you want to reread that, it is on Epic, and it is a read to me. You can always turn off the sound and just read it yourself if you would like as well. So going back to our learning targets, if it is day 1, let's take a look at these words. We have boldly. Boldly, what does that mean? Well, it means to do it with confidence. The next word is clutched. Clutched. It means to hold tightly. And then elegant, it's like fancy, timidly, shy or with caution. So boldly and timidly would be opposites. If you do something timidly, you're kind of taking your time, you're not sure what's going to happen. But if you do something boldly, think about swinging open a door to tell everyone you're here. You're doing it confidently. Or if you do it timidly, you're slowly creaking open the door and peeking your head in. Again, those are opposites. So for day 1's activity, you are going to write 4 sentences. Number 1, write a sentence with the word boldly. So we should see that in your sentence. Number 2, write a sentence with the word clutched. Clutched. And then number 3, write a sentence with the word elegant. Number 4, write a sentence with the word timidly. And you can think about different things that maybe you have done with each of these words. If you think of boldly, what's something that you have done with confidence? You could put it in a sentence. Clutched, what is something that you've held on to tightly, or maybe you've seen someone or something holding something tightly, turn it into a sentence. Elegant, meaning fancy. Maybe you have experience with something very elegant or fancy, turn it into a sentence. Timidly, maybe you are shy or you do things with caution. Write a sentence to go with that. Otherwise, you can find these words in Stone Soup on Epic to help you out as well. I'm going to get rid of these. If it is day 2, then you've already done all this and you don't have to worry about it. If it is day 2, I want you to write character traits to go with the villagers on the left and then travelers on the right. And again, if you are writing this on paper, you can write it as a T-chart. I call it a T-chart because it's shaped like the letter T. If you're doing it on Seesaw, you could put it the same way. Just make sure your character traits for villagers are on the left and your character traits for travelers are on the right. For day 3, if it is day 3, you've done these already. Don't worry about that part. If it is day 3, you are retelling this story using beginning, middle, and end. So again, in the beginning, who are the characters? What is the setting? Give me a first event from the beginning. The middle, what is the problem? There's a pretty obvious problem in this story. And then the end is the solution. How did they solve that problem?